Hello everyone and welcome back to the Value Investor Show. Today I want to talk about United Health Group. For the first time this year, analysts are beginning to see hope ahead of UNH July 29th earnings. So in this video, I want to cover what to expect from UNH on July 29th, what to expect from the CEO during the upcoming earnings, the targeted actions that UNH is currently taking to grow based on their Q1 2025 results, what analysts and Wall Street are expecting next week, along with some very recent news, the bear case, what could go wrong for UNH, and the key risks to watch. And finally, I'll share my overall thoughts as we approach earnings. But before I dive in, I just want to thank you all for the overwhelming support. We've been getting thousands of views, comments, likes. It truly doesn't go unnoticed. I appreciate all the feedback and it does motivate me to create even more tailored content for you. The only thing I ask, if you're new here, please subscribe. Only 4% of you are currently subscribed. It was 2% last week, so we are growing, and a quick like and sub would mean a lot. And also do follow me on X for daily updates. So yesterday I bought more UNH. I know I previously said I would buy if the stock dropped below $260, but after reviewing the financials again and the CEO's commentary, I decided that $283 was still a steal, and if it drops under 260 again, I will likely buy more. Right now, UNH is about 3.5% of my diversified portfolio, which consists of 13 stocks. It's still a relatively small position, but it's also because Meta is my largest holding. The stock has appreciated 400% since I bought it, so relatively UNH appears quite small, but I will continue to grow this position if the price is right. And I think it does offer one of the best risk opportunities in today's market. I think yesterday we did see a market that is mostly red, but healthcare was performing quite well on the green side here. Before talking about what to expect for Q2, I think we need to revisit what happened in April when the company reported Q1 earnings. On a revenue perspective, revenue grew 9% year on year, but UNH missed revenue estimates. On top of that, EPS was down year over year, and they also missed analyst expectations. But most significantly, their full year 2025 guidance was lowered to $26, well below prior expectations. So this was the first earnings miss in 17 years for UNH. And following that, the CEO resigned, there was a massive sell-off, and there was a series of other moves that have turned things around. Now, one key issue was a spike in care activity, especially in the Medicare Advantage segment. Services were used more than expected, which basically created cost pressures and compressed margins. UNH and other providers failed to adjust for the V28 implementations, as I have said in previous videos, which has worsened the impact. Now, there are as well a few positives to take from Q1. For example, firstly, their customer growth remains strong, and their Optum Health business saw higher digital tool engagement. UNH is a well-diversified healthcare provider, so while some units underperformed, others continued to grow. So as I said, following the earnings call, UNH announced that Andrew Whitty was stepping down for personal reasons. He has been replaced by Stephen Helmsley, the former CEO of UNH between 2006 and 2017. He is one of the most respected leaders in healthcare, and Helmsley immediately bought 24 million worth of stock price when he joined the company, which is an extremely bullish signal right here. He also suspended the 2025 guidance, but he also stated that the company expects growth to continue to return to growth in 2026. I think by suspending the guidance, he effectively removed Wall Street pressure and reset expectations. In my view, this was more strategic, and it gives him the opportunity to set lower expectations and beat them starting with Q2. Before I dive into what we should expect for Q2 based on what Q1 has showed us, I want to tell you guys what the targeted growth actions are and how UNH is positioning itself to return to net income growth. Well, firstly, on the Medicare Advantage, UNH plans to serve 800,000 additional members in 2025. On an Optum Health perspective, UNH is targeting 650,000 new patients this year, and Optum are 4x is showing high retention, strong growth, and new client wins. Stephen Hemsley, in fact, said that there are tremendous opportunities to grow as we continue to help improve healthcare and to perform to our potential, and in doing so, return to our long-term growth objective of 13 to 16%. I think that's a strong statement from Stephen Hemsley. He's emphasizing the long-term value. He is saying that their objective is to grow 13 to 16%, and they are positioning themselves to get there. Now, in terms of Q2 2025, analysts estimate an EPS of $4.9, a decline of 28% from last year's $6.8. While I don't usually follow analyst opinion closely, it's also very important to understand the narrative behind it. So now that the guidance has been suspended, most analysts are expecting very low, and even some of them are now expecting UNH to outperform. For example, Rinning cut their 2025 EPS forecast from $23 to $18. And just to remind you guys, originally the EPS projected for 2025 under Andrew Whitty was $26. So essentially, Leerink's updated forecast assumes almost no margin in the Medicare Advantage business, and analysts are anticipating a steady climb back to 3% margins in that business segment by 2028. And also, Leerink said that leaves them reasonably constructive about the balance between risks and potential rewards. Now, odds are against UNH, but I think analysts' expectations are very low. Even Morgan Stanley analysts took a very similar stance, where they have forecasted EPS of $21 for 2025, which is lower than their initial $25 per EPS. And there is a massive drop in EPS that has already been priced for UNH. So I think anything above that, in my opinion, will boost the stock and raise guidance. In fact, Leerink characterized UNH as a global growth stock that attracts unique and diverse shareholder value. Their view is that UNH is a simple way to invest into the secular growth of US medical spending. They also referred to UNH dual business growth. The insurer operates through its United Healthcare segment, which serves as a major driver of revenue, as well as its Optum Health Services division. And even with the odds against it, Leerink believes that UNH is on the pace for recovery, and in the firm's view, growth could reaccelerate as soon as 2027. Now, I want to also consider the bear case. What could go wrong? Well, firstly, on a value-based care, UNH might continue to struggle with value-based care adoption. In terms of pricing pressures and the Medicare Advantage competitive pressures, the V28 transition and new competition could further impact pricing dynamics. There is also a policy risk. Medicaid funding is sensitive to federal state budgets, so any political shifts could hurt margins. Also, in terms of regulation, pharmacy benefit management could face stricter oversight or margin cuts. And fifth, technology integration. Failing to modernize or integrate new offerings, integrating AI into the business could hurt operational efficiency. I'm only flagging this because I could go on for days and talk through why UNH is a great investment, but I think it's also important for everyone to understand that there is also a very big risk, that there's also a bear perspective that we need to take into consideration, and we need to know what the real risks are for UNH and what they need to do to manage those risks, which is why many times when I read through earnings reports, I want to hear what the CEOs are saying for the risks, if they are transparent about them, if they're fully transparent about the way that they approach these problems, and what are the actions that they're using to reduce and mitigate those risks as much as they can. So that takes me to my overall general thoughts for UNH and the market. So in my view, for UNH, cost pressures, setbacks have already been priced in. Most analysts also are already expecting the worst. And I believe, in my view, that the new or old CEO, Stephen Hemsley, is an operational mastermind, and he has a track record of turning things around. In terms of the market itself, healthcare is growing at 6.6% CAGR through to 2030. People are getting older, people are getting sicker, so fundamentally the market is growing. And UNH is not the only health insurer that is facing issues. In my opinion, due to their tech stack, they are best positioned to rebound back. Now, when it comes to valuation and what happens post July 29th, based on my intrinsic value model, and I would encourage you to watch previous videos on exactly what I have priced in and my assumptions, is that under my base case, the intrinsic value of the business is $230. Now, I have been way more conservative than what most of Wall Street and analysts expect in terms of future EPS growth, yet that still gave me an intrinsic value of $230, which is very close to the current $280 per share. I think that gives me even more confidence that I have a very conservative base case and that the risk reward is very attractive. Now, would I increase my stake or sell post July 29th? Well, it all depends on what the earnings show and what the CEO says. My guess is that UNH will beat the revenue and EPS estimates and give guidance for 2025 that is in line or slightly above analyst expectations. And I do expect the CEO to provide updates on what is being done in the operation side to fix the issues and mitigate the risks that the company is currently facing. As is, I'm very happy with my position, but I am alerted in case it drops further whether I would buy more. In terms of selling, I do not have any plans to sell. In fact, I only buy businesses to keep for 3-4 years minimum. So when I entered UNH, I had no plan to sell anytime soon. But with that being said, I'm very alerted on the operational side problems that the company is currently facing, and I want to see targeted actions that are directly mitigating those problems in order to keep my position. With that being said, I am very optimistic about the current leadership, and I do think that UNH will turn things around. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your love and support. Please like and subscribe and follow me on X for more updates. I'll see you guys on the next episode.